All right, today we are starting Unit 5. This unit is about changes to Earth and the forces that cause those changes. You should be on page 42 of your notebook. So we're going to start off with the brain pop, and then I'll be right back.
Dear Tim and Moby, what's the Earth made of anyway? From K.L. Helly. Well, there is a lot of metal in the Earth, along with silicon-based rock. How do we know? Earthquakes. Like any other waves, earthquake waves bend when they travel through different materials. By studying the way earthquakes vibrate through the interior of the planet, scientists have been able to get a pretty good idea of Earth's internal structure. Yikes. The Earth has three basic layers: the core, the mantle, and the crust. The crust is the part of the Earth we live on. We can only see the very top layer of the crust. Underneath all that grass and dirt and sand and water and stuff is a layer of hard rock. The crust is about 5 to 10 kilometers thick in the ocean basins and 35 to 70 kilometers thick in the continents. Below the crust, you'll find the mantle. The mantle is made up of a mixture of elements including silicon, iron, magnesium, and oxygen. It goes down from the bottom of the crust to about 2,900 kilometers deep, and heat churns through it. The mantle makes up the bulk of the Earth's mass, about 2/3 of it, in fact. Parts of the upper mantle are soft and plastic. This is what allows the tectonic plates that make up the Earth's surface to move around. The lower mantle is solid and extremely hot. At the very center of the Earth, you'll find the core. The outer core is Earth's only totally liquid layer. It's about 2,300 kilometers thick and made of molten iron and nickel. The pressure from all those other layers pushing down creates a solid ball in the very center of Earth called the inner core. It's made of mostly iron, and it can be found somewhere around 5,100 kilometers below the surface. The inner core floats in the outer core and spins at a different rate than the rest of the planet. This, along with the convection currents in the mantle, is probably what causes Earth's magnetic field. Well, nobody knows this stuff for sure. The deepest hole ever drilled was only about 12 kilometers deep. That's only a tiny fraction of the 6,355 kilometers to the center of the Earth. Okay, but I'm telling you, it's going to take a long time to get to the core. I'll call you when dinner's ready.
All right, so today we're looking at the composition of the Earth. This is sixth grade. For most of you, this is going to be review. You've seen this before, but we're going to go ahead and go over that today because it's very important in what we are doing for this unit. So it may seem like the Earth is made up of one big solid rock, but it's actually made up of a number of parts. Some of them are constantly moving. You can think of the Earth as being made up of a number of layers, sort of like an onion. These layers get more and more dense the closer to the center of Earth you get. So for Earth's layers, the crust is the layer we are standing on. It is the thin outer layer of the Earth where we live. The crust varies from about 5 kilometers thick in the ocean floor to around 70 kilometers thick on land, which we call the continental crust. It's composed of solid rock that is broken into lithospheric plates. Lithos is a Greek root for rock. The next layer of the Earth is called the mantle. The mantle is much thicker than the crust at almost 3,000 kilometers deep. It's made of slightly different silicate rocks with more magnesium and iron. The mantle contains most of the Earth's volume. It takes up most of the space of the Earth. It is made of hot, dense rock that flows, and that's what we call molten rock, meaning melted rock. And a lot of diagrams are going to show you an upper mantle and a lower mantle. Keep that in mind for your reflection later. The Earth's outer core is made up of iron and nickel and is very hot. This is so hot that the iron and nickel metals are liquid. The outer core is very important to Earth as it creates something called a magnetic field. The magnetic field the outer core creates goes way out into space and makes a protective barrier around the Earth that shields us from the sun's damaging solar winds. The Earth's inner core is made up of iron and nickel, just like the outer core. However, the inner core is different. The inner core is so deep within the Earth that it is under immense pressure. So much pressure that even though it is hot, it's solid. The inner core is the hottest part of the Earth, and at over 5,000 degrees Celsius, it is about as hot as the surface of the sun. So we put all this together, and if we look at this picture or this diagram, it looks like a cross section of Earth. It's if we just cut out a slice of the Earth and pulled it out. At the bottom, we can see the inner core. Right above that, the outer core, which is the only liquid layer of the Earth. In this diagram, the mantle is split into the lower mantle and the upper mantle. And on top of that, the lithosphere. Remember, the plates of the crust are called lithospheric plates. They're plates of rock. Between the lithosphere and the mantle is the asthenosphere, which is an area of solid rock that is heated. So we call it plastic. It's not completely liquid, it's not completely solid, it's kind of molten and it flows. So the rocks in the asthenosphere are not as dense as the rocks in the lithosphere. So the lithosphere kind of floats on top of the asthenosphere. And then of course we have oceanic crust, which is going to be under our ocean basins, and then continental crust, which is going to be on the land where we are. Now, what lives inside the Earth? And I know you're like, what? Nothing lives in there, Ms. Blackstock. What's wrong with you? Nothing's wrong with me. I'm telling you, something lives in there. It's horrible. There are these horrible, horrible, frightening, terrifying creatures. And I'm going to show you a picture of one, but you don't have to look at it because you can fast forward through. I know this says you can skip it. Don't click in because I'm going to talk about the reflection at the end. But there are these things that live in the core, way down deep in the core, that nobody knows about. So you're into some secret information, all right? So if you're going to pause or skip, you might want to do it now because it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming.
Huh?
For your reflection, you will be creating a full color label diagram of Earth's layers. You can do it in any style you want. You can do a cross section. You can just draw the circles. It is completely up to you. However, you need to make sure that you label all of the following information: the inner core, the outer core, the upper mantle, the crust, the lithosphere, the asthenosphere, continental crust, oceanic crust. Oh, that's on there twice. Ignore that. Lower mantle and the convection currents. So this should be on the page right beside your notes. And if you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to come up, ask me a question, email me. My Schoology's acting up again, so messaging me on there is kind of sketchy. But hopefully you got these notes done pretty easily. And I will see you on Thursday because there is no school tomorrow. Bye.